Guys, welcome back to the Star Wars figure review. Next video, we're going to take a look at another one of the characters from the Rogue One line of action figures. And this one is one of the newer ones that has also been announced, that came out as part of this line. And the character in question is Galen Erso. Now, before we properly look at him, we'll take a look at the packaging that this one comes in. As you can see, it's the same as the ones that I've shown you for the Bodhi Rook and the Antok Merrick figures, with the turquoise banner there and the mural photo on the side. This doesn't partly complete the mural of the ones that I do have so far, that because Antok Merrick and Bodhi Rook go on either side of this one. So it's nice to have it partly completed with this going on. So it's nice to have, as I said, nice to have that. And the whole packaging, as I said, is 100% recyclable. And there's a better picture of him there, seen in action with some of the background there, which I think is meant to be Scarif. I'm not too sure. I have to look back at the full thing. I think it's meant to represent either Scarif or Jeddah or Edie or something like that, but it works out well. We also have the bio for Galen Erso on there too, indicating what he did for the Empire, that being helping to design and build the Death Star when he learned to lie. As you see, he's number 7 in the line of Rogue One figures, so most of which, the first few of which are of course re-releases of Jyn, Cassian, Chirrut and Baze, and K2SO, I keep forgetting about that. But this one here is brand new, so we didn't get him back in the original line of action figures back in 2016, but I do like this. But we got it now. We do get the updated, still there. We do get we get kind of a bit of reuse among most of it, as well as, of course, Galen Erso is sort of an Imperial officer, so a lot of it is sort of reuse from the Imperial officer outfit, which works. It works in the sense for this, and it does also have some parts of a new design this time around. Of course, the torso is a new design. There's no ranking insignia badge on there. We do also have the cylinders that do go in there, so it's a different design. You can also tell it by the head. They haven't gone for the hinge on the head as opposed to previous ones, but you can tell further down when they've gone for the double joints in the knees how much differently that is. And you can see some of the colour tone is rather similar to that of Tarkin, Piet, Veers and Admiral Rampart, but it works out. It works in the case for this. And this photoreal face of him there really sticks out in comparing it to Mads Mikkelsen, who portrayed Galen Erso in the films, and he's a great actor, having appeared in films including Casino Royale. There's The Hunt as well, in which he showed up in, and the upcoming third instalment of Fantastic Beasts. He is set to play Gellert Grindelwald. I won't be seeing that anyway, because I don't have no plans on seeing that, but it's coming out soon, and he'll be in that because he's replacing Johnny Depp in the parts there, so you get to see how that is. But I've got to say, one of the things that does bring this figure down is the amount of accessories, because all we get here is the data card. That is the Death Star plans that, of course, are stolen from the data vault on Scarif, and they are eventually taken to the Profundity, put onto this drive, and the rebels basically run for their lives to get onto the Tantive, and then, of course, eventually Princess Leia pops this data card into R2-D2. So yeah, it feels unusual that they're giving it with Galen Erso of all characters, but considering we didn't have it already, it's nice to see someone, see some a figure include it. We just didn't get any blasters or anything like that with Galen Erso this time. We never really see him wield one in the film, so it sort of makes sense there as to why we have that. But I thought it goes pretty well on the shelf with it, because of course he is the lead technician in helping design it and all that, so it works well there, especially when he's on Edu. I'll run down the articulation. As I said, you get the ball jointed head and neck, so both parts there instead of the old hinge. Ball hinged shoulders and elbows, the ball hinged wrists, ball jointed torso, which is very stiff on this one actually, but I've got it moving there. Ball hinged hips, swivel thighs, double joints in the knees, and a ball joint rocker at the ankle, which is partly restricted, as unlike the other Imperial officers that we have had. He doesn't have the calf-length boots this time. He just has the basic shoes with the trousers over them. I mean, we do see a lot of those in the New Hope when they're wandering around on the Death Star, so I think Galen Erso's design is meant to mimic that sort of design. But the rest of it is basic Imperial officer attire. You know, it's a thing you're used to. Of course it is one of those good examples of a reuse, because there's not really much you need to do with it, so that works fine. But everything else around there works great, and it does have its own indication that with his ranking there on the side, on his shoulder, that stands out right. And as I said, everything else goes out well. It is sort of a new design, but it's also old designs, and it's quite nice to see some different variation this time, because you looked at Piet and Veers and Rampart, they're sort of just the same as Tarkin really, with a few slight alterations, whereas this time it tried to make it look like it's kind of a new outfit. It's different colouring, the different coloured plate turquoise plating on the top of the tunic, then of course the different ball joint, and again just for the Mads Mikkelsen face, it just really matches out well. The whole design just it's well done. I've got to give props to Hasbro on that. They've put some effort into balancing out that example of reuse versus something new, and this is where it works. This is one of those times where it's worked great. I just think that the lack of accessories is what has let the figure down just a little bit. I think we could have just had something else other than the data card. Like, I'm looking at the Admiral Rampart figure because he came with a mouse droid and a blaster. I was just thinking if we'd included a mouse droid with Galen Erso like they did in the 3 3/4 inch line. So I do remember they did include that with him back in 2016. I think that would have been nice to get someone like that included with Galen Erso instead of just the Death Star plans. That would have been a nice way just to sort of have something more with the figure, make it worthwhile the price you're paying for it. Because I think I got this for $21.99, and it would have felt more worth if I'd had just a little extra item with it rather than just the plans. Because some of you watching might have this figure, but might not even have the plans of Galen, so might have been giving them to Leia, reenacting the shot, which is placing them inside R2 with that. So yeah, I mean it's nothing too much to complain about, and I do like this figure. It sits really well on my Rogue One shelf with all my other characters that I've got lined up on there. I very much like it. It was worth picking up. I actually got this one back in October. I was luckily able to find an earlier stock of him and pick him up from Food and Planet. I had a lucky grab there. I think it's one of those times when you're in like a fan group and then you see someone else has bought the figure and you quickly run to see if you can get it earlier as well. And I managed to get this one, and I couldn't have been more thrilled than I was. I really wanted him in the collection there, and that's when I got him. So that is Galen Erso as part of the Black Series line. As I said again, it's quite a new figure, and it's partly reused, but it's one of those times when reuse just works well in the fact that it's had that balance out to look new as well as being reused. So I'd say definitely get this one up if you're a big fan of the Rogue One characters. You want to get into the Rogue One figure. This is definitely one to have, especially if you're doing like an Edu recreation scene, because you do have the Jin from that. If you have that, and you try and get them both there with their final moment, or him with Krennic and all that, it stands out well. And even if you maybe have like an old action figure of Lashif from Casino Royale that just has an awful facial sculpt, and you could even swap it out with this if you wanted to. This just looks good just because of the much better look it has. I'd love to see like a modern figure of Lashif come from Casino Royale be released, and just give it the facial comparison with this. I don't think this is just me assuming there was James Bond stuff in the merch back then, but if there is, you could probably do something like that, or even like from anything else he's been in. But that is Galen Erso as part of the Black Series. A very, very worthy figure in addition to collection, and definitely a good new inclusion for Hasbro to have to have finally released as part of the Black Series. I'll leave a link to Star Action Figures where you can buy this figure. That'll be down there in the description below, on along with my Facebook, Twitter and Instagram links. And do drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button for more content, and hit that notification bell when you know I've uploaded something new. I'll see you next time.